Hey guys, this is Navjeet on Facebook Live. I'm so happy that you're joining me today. I want to first say happy Valentine's, and let's just give a big shout out to love today. Today is a day that people are celebrating love, whether you are with someone or alone. I think that everybody has love to give, and we all certainly would love to receive some love. So just take a moment and just put out your love vibe. Just put it out there, and also just let yourself receive love because it's out there. There's people loving. There are kids playing. There are birds singing. There's wind blowing. There's love in the universe, and so we can add to it and receive from it. So that's just my first little kiss. Hi Mary, lovely to see you here. And so today we're going to talk about meditation, and particularly silence meditation. We're going to talk about that. We'll have a little segment for meditating, and then a little space for Q&A. So let me start off by asking a couple of questions. Do you feel like you are tired or running around, don't feel like you have enough time to even think things through, or you're feeling like you're not getting enough sleep? Are you noticing that you are spending more time on your smartphone or your devices than you would like to? I know I do. So what I noticed in the last couple of years is that the amount of time that I was spending, looking at my Facebook or being on Instagram or just checking my text was beginning to have a negative impact in terms of how present I felt, how much energy I had, and also just in terms of patience in relationships. It wasn't just something that was completely obvious, but I've noticed just in myself that there's this other feeling that I've been having in the last few years. And I knew it. I knew that this behavior was not a healthy behavior, but I just carried on just like we all do, just keep going and doing that. And then last year when my father died, something really shifted my relationship to phones and devices and my time. And that was that I experienced silence in such a profound and deep way that it made me put away my phone, made me walk away from watching, videos and streaming and all of that. And I had this sensation of being connected to something very, very nourishing, and something that I had been missing in my life for the last few years. And it's very distinct, this experience of time on devices and inner peace and inner quiet. The thing is, I've noticed, is that, our nervous systems, they're just on the go all the time, whether they're stressed out because of, devices and smartphones, or life complications, injury, illness, having to get things done by a deadline, chores, school pickup, all of those things. And what happens is that our nervous system, for the poor nervous system, it feels like we're on fight or flight. It's running away from predators all day long. And we think that when we go to bed at nighttime, that's going to shift, that, the nervous system isn't going to be operating, but it's not true. Our nervous systems continue to run and cycle as if we are running from predators all day and all night. So that impacts how much rest and sleep we get. Which brings me to the knowing that I want more sleep. I want to have restful sleep. And just having this sense of the nervous system being on the go, 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 go day and night was an illuminating piece of information. And I decided I wanted to change that. And my father's death, the recognition that I was in bad habits, I have to admit it, I have been in bad habits with how much time I was spending on devices. And the desire to have a much more peaceful, restful, getting a good night's sleep kind of life really motivated me to meditate and look at what actually nourishes the nervous system, what makes it turn off and feel safe. And study after study shows that actually meditation is a wonderful and very easy way to turn that super hyperactive amygdala from being alert, 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 to bringing it back into a much more peaceful, quieter, self-regulating way that then supports so much more patience, more energy, less stress. And so this series of meditations that I've created called My Silence Retreat is really that, an opportunity to put away the phone, turn off the devices, and just create a little bit of time for yourself so that your nervous system can switch back into being much more peaceful and quieter and functioning in a way that it wants to, which is that it doesn't have to be on alarm all the time. In this series of meditations, you will get 5 audio guided meditations that help you to become comfortable with silence, to feel yourself changing your relationship to wanting to meditate. We all have this feeling that without this, we're not going to make it. And it's really hard to put this thing away and say, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes of uninterrupted time for myself to look within, to connect to the light or the wisdom that is in there. Everybody talks about light, everybody talks about wisdom, and how we want to create that special time, want to create that time in the morning or in the evening to connect to ourselves. But what does that really mean, connecting to ourselves? It means just feeling okay. It just means like, oh, there's nothing pushing at you, forcing you, making you run, 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 whether it's for your email checking or texting or picking up the laundry, that there's this feeling of that you have time for yourself, that you can move in the world in a much more connected and solid way from the inside, so that you're not feeling depleted. I see and look at myself too, and I see the times when I'm really depleted or when I'm burnt out, and I'll look at the day and I'll see, oh yeah, I was on my device more than I needed to be on, and I didn't give myself that moment of breathing space, a moment or a sense of what's really happening inside of myself. I read recently that silence, more than relaxing music, more than affirmations, more than reading a book about meditation or listening to a wise teacher about meditation, that silence actually is much more restorative to the nervous system than any of those things, even relaxing music or yoga music. And so what we want to do is begin to really think about, like, wait, if silence is what's really going to help me reset, maybe I want to introduce a few moments, pockets in the day where there is that silence and that stillness from needing to be active or becoming agitated. I know that for some people, silence may feel a bit scary because it feels like it's nothing. We're not talking about an environment that's like a vacuum without sounds or movements. What I mean by silence is kind of letting go of the agitations that take your mind whizzing this way or that feeling or this thing, but just beginning to be able to position yourself in a way so that you can see that thought coming by, you can feel that or become aware of that sensation of that feeling coming up, so that you can decide, I want to engage or not engage. And hopefully when we're sitting in meditation, we can just say, I'm not going to engage with any of those thoughts. I'm not going to engage with any of those feelings. I'm not going to engage with anything, but just be in this kind of restful, noticing, quietening place. And just see what happens. That's what I would really recommend, is just be curious enough to see what happens when you choose to become still, choose to put your attention on the things that are quieter instead of louder, things that are less demanding instead of very demanding, things that are nourishing versus things that are depleting. So it's just kind of like this movement of choices gradually, 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 gradually taking us into this place of more stillness, less noise. And so the nervous system, as it moves into these quieter, stiller places, has less or fewer alarms or things to be dealing with or coping with. So it has the opportunity to reset and reconnect with itself and be able to perform the function that it really wants to perform, which is wellness and health and vitality. But if it's on alarm duty and survival duty all day long, it doesn't get the chance to move its attention into vitality and rejuvenation. So that's a little introduction of why silence and the value that silence can provide for us. I myself have been doing this now on and off for about, I would say, October, November, December, January, February, about 5 months since my father passed. And I can tell you firsthand that I now am doing Tai Chi and Qigong regularly. I have enrolled in film classes, which I've been wanting to do forever. And it's just that extra time and that extra space has given me that bandwidth to remember and realize, oh, what are the things that I really love to do? What are the things that I want to explore and pursue? And just keep putting my attention there. The other thing I wanted to share with you is that I usually meditate first thing in the morning and before I go to sleep. The reason I do that in the mornings is because I want to unwind out of my night's sleep and dreams and any anxieties that I might be sleeping and dreaming about, and just also allowing myself to connect to silence and stillness, because both silence and stillness, they have that quality of universal consciousness. They're much bigger than me. They're much bigger and more fuller than my thoughts or my feelings. So by connecting my consciousness to something bigger than myself, I'm allowing myself to become a different vibration. So that's why I do it in the morning, and then in the evenings I do it so that I can release the running around and the rushing of the day. The way that I release all that agitation and activity, it could be something very simple. You've just been trudging along, and there's no conflict, there's nothing big or nasty happening, but you're just a bit tired, your shoulders are a bit tight, you've got this feeling of slight dread, you've got to get all these things done by tomorrow morning. And so what I do is I'll notice all that. I'll notice that I'm a bit squeezed in my shoulders, or I'm carrying a bit of weight about the things that I need to get done by tomorrow. And I'll just notice and say, okay, where am I holding a little less tension in my body right now? Oh, I'm feeling less tension in my chest, or my feet don't feel any tension at all. They have no worries at all. So I'll bring my awareness there to where it's a bit more relaxed, a bit more looser. And then I'll do the same thing with, where am I carrying that I've got to get all these things done by tomorrow? What's it making me do? It's making me squeeze my shoulders. Even if it's just a little tiny squeeze, I'll just begin to relax that, and then I'll notice that my breath changes. And then just little bit by little bit, looking for squeezing, pressure, tension, and releasing those places from my body, my being becomes more quiet, it becomes more relaxed. And then that's how I finish off the day, is allowing my body to come into tune with where I want to be. Most of us forget that we have a choice about where we want ourselves to be emotionally and mentally and spiritually, but we can choose throughout the day. And I think that silence, by kind of saying, okay, I'm going to be silent now, I'm going to be still now, it's a really brilliant way to set the tone, to set the pace, and a really brilliant way to bring yourself into that vibration. Because silence isn't saying anything, it's not making you feel anything or do anything, it's just an isness. And so as we move towards that isness, guess what? We become part of that isness, and that is really comforting and nourishing. I'm going to ask if there's any questions or comments. I see one comment which said, beautiful lady, hi. If there's any questions, I would love to hear from you. Hi, Britt. If not, we can just go ahead and just do a really sweet Valentine's Day silence meditation. I know I just really dissed devices and Facebook and all of this, but it also is giving me the opportunity to connect with you. So I want to appreciate that, that we're going to actually be doing a meditation on Facebook. So for this meditation, let's just do it really simply by having you start to just scan or notice what's happening in your body right now. Are you feeling a little tense? Are you feeling a bit squeezy? Are you feeling hot? Are you feeling cold? Just notice all these things. Is your spine a bit scrunched? Have you been, bent over your desk? Whatever it is, just notice that and see if you can soften it. As soon as I do that, my breath becomes deeper. I do a sigh. And then I just begin to become aware of my thoughts. So become aware of your thoughts. What are you feeling? And I would encourage you to go ahead and look outside of the window. Look around at the room. Look around at the textures, the colors, the smells. What is around you at this moment that you can just let yourself see and notice and hear? By moving away from our thoughts and our feelings, we're just allowing the nervous system to unwind. It's unwinding. We're saying to it, it's okay. You don't have to be on alert. Every time we breathe a little deeper, every time we unsqueeze a muscle or release a little bit of tension, the nervous system feels a little breath of relief or release. I have a question that I'll answer in a minute, Britt. Thank you for that question. So we're just going to continue noticing. We're going to have our eyes open for this meditation. Just practicing noticing. I know that some of you may be familiar with this exercise if you do mindfulness. I know that mindfulness is all about noticing what's happening with our senses. Sense of smell, taste, touch, sight, hearing. And just allowing yourself to noticing it, but not interpreting it. And I think, Britt, that exactly is the exercise. If you want to maintain an open, loving focus, is to be in relationship with the world. Being able to see the sky, to notice the trees, the plants, even the people in our lives, not from like reactive or I have to respond to them, but just seeing them. Wow, this is my son, this is my wife, this is my friend, and just noticing them. What is their hair like? What is their vibration? Are they in a good place, bad place? But just noticing, not needing to give to them or react to them, but just noticing. And if people are hard, people can be hard to practice that with. We can just do that with nature by just looking at things around us and noticing them in their essence or in their being state. It could even be a chair. You might notice, wow, I love this chair. Look at the way the woodwork crosses, or look at the grain on this table. Look at the sheen on this computer. Look at the light in this room. Just noticing that you are in living color, living, breathing, moving experience of your life helps you to take your attention from whatever you've been focusing deeply on to focusing on and in reality. I would say that our physical body, our physical sensations are the thing that makes us the most present of all our awarenesses, whether it's emotional, mental, spiritual. It's the physical body that keeps you in the now. And so we might as well use the senses that the physical body has to be in the now, using our eyes, listening with our ears, smelling with our noses, feeling and touching with our hands, tasting with our mouths, being in reality, in the moment, in the experience, is very expansive and illuminating. I think that the most joyous I feel is when I've physically interacted with life, whether I've been running or jogging or dancing or even just jumping up and down, or even just doing this mindfulness type exercise of watching and listening and being. It's really, it just makes me feel full of joy, because this world, the living real world, there's so much energy, so much vitality, so much connection available to us. So continue doing this little meditation and see what you feel. See what happens. See if you can start listening for the silence now. The silence between the words and thoughts and feelings. See if you can feel the silence or the stillness between each breath. Just actively engage with noticing, listening for the silence or the stillness. And if you find yourself being hard and like, oh, I can't stop thinking, just even soften that thought. Soften those feelings. Soften the expectation. Soften the outcome. And for yourself, notice what changes, what you like, what speaks to you, what would you like a little more of in this experience. As I'm doing this exercise, I'm speaking to you and I'm doing this noticing exercise at the same time, I find that I can really allow my consciousness to just keep diving deeper and deeper and deeper. And I become quieter and quieter and quieter. It's not that my mind doesn't have things to say, but there's something about this stillness and this quietness that my mind finds very, very nourishing. It's almost like there's a relief that I don't have to maintain an identity or a personality when I become quiet and still. I can allow myself to become dissolved in that. And there's relief in that. There really is. For me, you can sign up for my silence retreat in the links that we'll provide for you in this, in the messages on the side here. And you can always go to tenderlogic.com for updates on new ways, new techniques, new exercises, or if you would like to get a little bit more support and want to have like one-on-one conversation guidance, we can do that. My deepest desire for this My Silence Retreat program is that I know that there's so much freedom and relief, and there's so many benefits from just sitting down or even just walking in silence or moving in silence, allowing for that to be a part of our days, that I so want it for people that I know who are feeling exhausted, their nervous systems are overtaxed. You know, if you're dealing with illness or injury, there is a way, a very gentle, very fulfilling, very effective way to begin to turn the tide around, and turn the tide around on your fatigue, on your fried feelings, on the need to feel that that connection, but not on the outside, but to really connect with the energy and the power that is within all of us. So I hope that you will join me. Again, I'll do another Facebook Live next week, and we'll do some more exercises, we'll answer more questions. But for now, I'm going to say bye-bye, and thank you so much for taking time out today to spend with us and doing a little meditation. And here come the big heart love to you all. Talk to you all soon. Bye. And please feel free to share this video with others. Thanks so much. Bye for now.